Hey guys, thanks for coming by. I know I haven't been putting any videos or reviews up lately, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know the reason why. If not, we had a recent unfortunate event in our family. We lost our family dog. We had to put her down, unfortunately, and she was in our lives for the last 10 years, so she meant a lot to me. So it was really hard on me to see her go. It's getting better slowly. I'm a lot better than I was last few days, but the show must go on with my channel. I love doing what I do. I love sharing my thoughts with you guys on movies and shows, and I just got to keep rolling with the punches and move forward. And with that, this is my review for Stranger Things 3. I had a chance to watch the first 4 episodes when it premiered on July 4th, and I had to stop due to what happened with my dog. And while we were waiting for that moment to come, I finally had a chance to watch the next 4. So even though it was under those circumstances, I still managed to watch it, and I enjoyed it. I want to share my thoughts with you guys. Before I do, tell me what you thought of the season, if it's your favorite season, and why do you like it so much. And don't forget, consider clicking on that subscribe button and that bell in order to hear any more notifications from me for your future enjoyment. So Stranger Things, I have to say, is probably one of my favorite shows that are on any of the streaming services right now. I didn't have my YouTube channel when season 1 and 2 came out, so I didn't really review them. But even before the first season aired, when I saw the trailers for it, it was something that really intrigued me. And I think one of the reasons why is because of how authentic it looks towards the 80s. And I think that's something that our generation and even people that are younger than me, they're really interested in seeing that decade. I was born in 85 when the 3rd season takes place. And even growing up to when I was 5 years old, 6 years old during the early 90s, I still remember seeing that type of style, pop culture that we see in this show. So for me, that's why I liked it. That's what intrigued me. And it's also a new spin on a fresh story of this dimension of the upside down, and just it really intrigued me. And not only that, it's a show that has very interesting characters, and it focuses not only on the sci-fi, but it focuses on these kids, on the adults, and it just made it really fascinating. And at the same time, it gave a good tribute to all this pop culture and movies from that decade. Now, everyone in this season is great, and we get a few new characters along the way, but there's just a few that I want to mention that I liked. I liked Hopper in this season. I liked him because he kind of takes over the role of what Winona Ryder had in the first season, being that kind of protective mother, looking for her son, worrying about him all the time. And here, he is kind of playing the overprotective dad in a way, because he now technically adopted Elle, and he's always making sure that she's okay. He always makes sure that she keeps her door 3 inches open when Mike's over, and he doesn't want anything going on while he's home. And you can sense that he gets a little bit to be of a jerk sometimes, but you can see he's trying to do what's right because he loves her so much. And him and Joyce, Winona Ryder, they go off on their own adventure there, and everyone else does their own thing. And I just like how he plays it off throughout this season. Now, as for the kids, they're great as usual in every season, but the 2 that I like and still like with this season is Millie Bobby Brown as Elle and Gaten Matarazzo as Dustin. And these 2 have always been just characters that really stay with you. You love them, you want to know more about them, as you do with all the kids. But I think for me, the reason why is that I just think they're the most memorable ones. And Dustin, I think he's probably everyone's favorite kid out of all of them. And Elle, I just think there's a sense of maturity that she's getting within this season, as I said with everyone else. But with her, she's still learning how it is to be a human being since she was experimented on. So she's still learning new things, learning new words, learning what it's like to shop for clothes. So you see that she's becoming a woman now. She's becoming a more empowered woman than she already is, and she does a lot of awesome stuff towards the end of the season that made me love her even more. And I think this actress, she's gonna be going places, because we've seen her in Godzilla already in movies, but I think beyond Stranger Things, she's destined to do a lot of great shows and film in the future. And there's one new character I did like, and that was Cary Elwes as the mayor. And he is an actor that's always good as playing a bad guy and a good guy. And I won't say what he is in this season, but he did it well. And the way I felt towards him was appropriate enough for the character that he was playing. So nonetheless, he was a great fit for the rest of the cast. And this is also a season that I feel that they concentrate a whole lot more on the character development, more so than the other 2, even though they did concentrate a lot in the last 2 seasons. But here I noticed, especially in the first 3 episodes, you're really going through the characters more so than what's going on in the Upside Down and these creatures, the demogorgons that are coming out. And I kind of like that, and I think that's why the majority of people that I've talked to about this show, why they liked it so much, is because you really fall in love with these characters, the kids and the adults. And in this season, I feel they're going through a next step in their maturity. The kids, they're going towards more of an adulthood. You see them going to more of a teenage phase, and we skipped a year between 2 and 3, so you can see they're a little older. The mom, Winona Ryder, and Hopper, who is played by David Harbour, you can see that they're entering a different part of their lives too. And I do like how all these characters are entering this new phase. We're kind of in the middle of this whole series because, as I was told or read online, that the Duffer Brothers, they're going to go as far as season 4 or 5. So if it's 5, we're kind of in the middle of this show. So I think it's a perfect point to really reach that next level of maturity for all these characters. We all know the first 2 seasons are heavily based on movies of the 1980s, but what I liked about this season is that it's based on one particular film. It's inspired by the movie Fletch, starring Chevy Chase. If any of you have seen that, I unfortunately didn't see that movie, but I've heard of it. And it's more of an action comedy investigation type of movie, and that's what this season does. A lot of the characters are all on their different paths, and they're all investigating something because the Russians are involved in this season, which is another thing that was heavily important in the 1980s. Cold War was still going on. So the first episode, you see the Russians, it's the first segment, that's the first scene, and that interests me a lot to see that history was really coming into play with this show, having the Russians be involved and how they were trying to gain entry into the Upside Down as well. So if you're a history buff, you find that interesting. And then there's the look. That's the last thing I want to mention, and that is something that definitely screams 80s when you're watching this show, and that's a good thing. That's what makes this show so authentic to that decade. And with this season, most of the set pieces are set in the mall, the carnival, and the pool where Billy is the lifeguard at. And with just the clothes you see the people are wearing, the bathing suits and what they're wearing at the mall, and when Elle's trying on the clothes when she's shopping, it just has such striking colors, and that's what it was like in the 80s. And I remember seeing that growing up, just people wearing these crazy outfits, and you don't see that anymore, but that's what makes this show so retro and cool for people to watch. And you see the neon lights in the mall, and just seeing the colors when they're at the carnival. And that's something, once again, you know me, I'm a visual person. I always talk about the visuals in TV and movies, and the show has a great story, but it also has to have sometimes a great look, and this show definitely delivers on that. And this season, I think that's one of the reasons why I liked it so much. You have the great action, you have the great characters, but they really top themselves with the visuals. So the storyline I will not get into, just so I don't ruin it for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, but it is interesting to say the least. My favorite season is still season 1. I think that's the best one, but this one comes really close. It was really entertaining, great to look at. I love the characters even more now, and when this season ended with the last episode, it just made me wonder, where is it going to go next? Because the characters are ready to go in a different direction, most of them, and there also is a post-credits scene. If you haven't gotten there yet, make sure to stay a little bit after the credits. There's this little after credits scene that really gives you an idea of where the next season may be heading. But I love this season. Tell me what you guys thought in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being patient and waiting for my next review. Don't forget to give it a like if you like this review, and don't forget to subscribe to hear more reviews from me. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you later.